In the vast future of Warhammer 40k, among rampaging orcs and terrifying tyranids, humanity's spirit stays alit across the galaxy. With the help of little people to the Emperor's finest, they have many an ally. And among those allies is a horse. The Attilan Rough Riders kit, included in the Astra Militarum Combat Patrol, the greatest combat patrol to ever grace the Astra Militarum. It's an interesting kit for sure. However, that kit will not fit with my World War I themed Imperial Guard army. But I have something that is going to make it just wonderful, and that is Tommy helmets. I don't know why I thought that swishing my hair would make me look better. Hello, everybody. My name is Sherlock Spiner, and I'm going to be turning these Attilan Rough Riders into better Rough Riders with Tommy helmets. Stay with me here, and we will get right into the kit building. The kit is pretty simple, just a lot of parts. I don't use the included Attilan heads, but rather opt for these Tommy heads from the Wargames Atlantic Bulldogs kit. The heads fit a little too low, so they need bolstering up. I used to use green stuff, but mixing up a tiny amount with my fat fingers in the cold season was not fun at all. So instead I tried a new method I like a lot better. I take sprue goo and lather the inside of the socket with it. Then I take some plastic shavings from previous building and pack that into the socket. Then I put another glop of goo on top and I let it set for a few minutes. Once it's tacky, it holds up the head perfectly. I had some fun with kit bashing, and I got some arms from that previously mentioned kit, and I put it on a guy to make him running with a gun on a horse in the far future in a World War I helmet. Now that's cool. And then it's time for bases, which is my favorite part of building any kit, especially these guys. Their little skinny horse hooves on a big 80mm oval base make it prime material for making some very cool and creative basing scenes. Now let's make some. Yeah! I use some coffee stir sticks cut up until I have an in-scale looking plank. Then I line up those planks until I'm left with some cool trench designs. I used some 3D printed corpses on a couple bases. These are World War I casualties from Wargames Atlantic from their digital range over on my mini factory. I will leave a link down to those if you want to print some World War I casualties. I tilted a horse to make it look like he was banking, and I sanded down the puddle base to make this corpse fit, which was very painful because I had to desperately try to hang on to that small little 1.5-inch tall guy and not let him get vacuumed up, and also keep resin dust out of my lungs because I want to live past 40. And then I glued him into place, and now he's solid. It all worked out. A cool design I thought was this stump, so I put this stump with a body lying over it and moved the horse to fit, kind of angling him off center of the oval base. And this didn't affect how the squad stands together, which was nice. Then I take some ultra-thin super glue around the surface and then dunk the bases into some dirt. And just like that, they are assembled. Time for a unifying black prime, and we're off to the races. Oh, I get it, like the Kentucky Derby because they're horse. Okay, that's funny. I give them a light dusting from above with Vallejo Air Gray Primer. Then it's time for the official brush painting, the fun stuff. Then I base coat the fabric with English uniform, followed by a wash of brownish decay speed paint from the armory painter, mixed with their speed paint medium and a little water. Now I don't know if it's just me, but I only use speed paints for washes. I personally don't care for them, like going over a white surface or a dry brushed surface. I like to use them just as a tinted wash. After the wash has dried, I go over with a dry brush of German Camo Orange Ochre. Who decided to spell ochre like that? Time for leather.
Most torturous part, the leather, and there is a lot of it. Oh my god. Fuck it, I'm tired.
First I base coat all the leather with chocolate brown, then stipple on some flat earth with a rough brush, followed by a very sparing dry brush of dark sand. Finally, a unifying wash of some slightly watered down smoke. It's called smoke, but it is brown. And then I do some darker leather for the boots and gloves, going black with a slight dry brushing of black-brown. I also do the fuzzy part with dark sand and a bony matter speed paint wash. My guys got Ugg boots for gloves. For the stowage blankets, I paint them with an olive green, then apply a wash with desolate brown speed paint. I don't highlight this part because you don't really see it. And I'm lazy. For the guns, I base coat them with chocolate brown, then use wood grain for a quick, easy gun stock finish. For all the armor, I base coat it with German camo dark green. Before the chipping, I put on some decals. These guys are part of the 261st Mounted Regiment. Now for chipping, by stippling a mysterious mix from 3 years ago. I actually just found it out. It's 75% uniform green, 25% khaki, I think. I use the pluck foam from gun cases because I'm American and have a ton of gun cases, and the texture is pretty perfect if you ask me. Then some German gray applied into the bigger clusters of the light green chips, and finally some bright silver for the freshest damage. But in the end, we're left with a nice battered and battle-damaged finish. While I have German gray on the palette, I also paint the horse's hooves with the German gray. Now for some chainmail silver on the spears and other metal bits, like butt plates, horseshoes, grenades, and aquillas. Then some bright silver for the buckles. I mixed up some glorious gold and bright bronze for the spear heads, and painted the handles with saddle brown, followed by a wash of dusk red speed paint and a highlight of our base color mixed with some deck tan. Simple, and Jesus Christ, that was a terrible highlighting job. Holy shit. I switched brushes and it's fine now. Also, I did the tube things dark gray with a light gray highlight, and then washed it all with some bony matter speed paint. Agrax Earthshade works just as well, but it comes from a pot. And I hate pots. Oh yeah, and I decided to paint the collar insignia thing. I was staring at it, and then I looked down at what I was wearing at the time, which happened to be this wool jacket. It's very cold and this is very warm. I don't care that it's too big. But I thought, hey, this is neat. So I went with gray with a yellow stripe in it. Time for some skin. 4 paints, 5 steps in total. A base color, a diluted wash, base color again, first highlights, and final highlights. The base color takes a few coats before it's ready for washing, but once it is, I apply said wash very sparingly, keeping it in the crevices. Then I build up raised parts that were tinted red with the base color, and then go finer and finer with little glazes of my highlight colors. And yeah, oh yeah, the eyes. This is going to be fun to film. Well, here it goes. First, a simple black dot. Oh, that's terrifying. Then an even smaller white dot in the center. Then another super tiny dot for the pupil. And that went way better than expected. And these guys' stashes were done with whatever colors I had on the palette at the time. This guy is old. This guy isn't. This guy is blonde. And this guy, oh, yikes. And when all that's said and done, I do a little more chocolate brown for his chin strap. I'm gonna hang myself. For the horse's fur, I found references online and tried to copy that. For the most part, I kept them solid colors, but I wanted to try a spotted pattern on one, and yep, it's spotted. I also made a pale one, brown one, black one, and white one, as decided by my followers on Instagram. Also ignore the pink. That was a tragedy that a very few amount of people will know, and it's going to stay that way. So ignore the pink. Then I painted some noses and some teeth. And now it's time for my favorite part of the painting, which is the bases. Mr. Bombastic, fantastic. And for these trench bases, I have a very special recipe. First up are the planks. I used 3 colors for them: English uniform, chocolate brown, and flat earth. all applied randomly over the planks. Once the planks are base coated, I apply a unifying coat of wood grain. For this tree stump, I just painted it black-brown, and for other details I did grays with a light dry brush of white, silvers for any exposed wire or rebar, followed by some rust tones, a very diluted bright orange paint, some khaki with a wash for the sandbags, and the same armor recipe for the helmet and gun laying on this trench. Basically whatever I feel would look right at the time. Then I painted the corpses with some random colors. Here are the paints used. No real order, just splotching colors around until I had some that looked good and dead. For the mud and dirt, I used a pre-mixed wash of olive brown and water, and I apply that wash everywhere. Some details will get covered, but mud is the thing that gets everywhere. I wrote this. Now for the greatest gift God has ever given man aside from free will and FNAF lore channels, and that is oil washes.
We are Charlie Kirk, we can.
Here are the products I use, and these work great for me. I don't varnish my models beforehand, as I like the oils to bite into the paint a little bit and make everything a little more grim dark. And once it's thinned enough, I absolutely lather the living heck out of the model. Once applied, I leave it for an hour or two to dry, or until it's not glossy. In my case, it was overnight, because I got busy. Once it's dry, I take a makeup sponge and I don't soak it in thinner. What I do is I just gently rub off the excess oil with the dry makeup sponge. I learned this tip somewhere on Instagram. After letting it dry overnight, I put it on a turntable and seal it all with multiple coats of AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish. The greatest matte varnish of all time, in my opinion. Now that it's dry, I get to put this guy in the tree stump and see how he looks. Not bad. After the varnish is dry, I add some blood and gore with these products to finish off the bases. I wait until after the varnish to do this step so the red is more vibrant and as gory as possible because I am a psychopath. The Slaughter Red Speed Paint is good for soaked puddles and splatter, while the Dirty Down Gore is good for... I'll let you guess. Then I framed the new Cavaliers with a black rim, and with that, I give you my take on the Rough Riders. I hope you all enjoyed, and until I get an outro, good day to you all.